I want you to break up with Kathy.
I love Kathy.
You turned me down. I think we should break up. You are a loser.
Your balance? $86 million. Thank you.
Why is there a homeless kid in our study group?
You know me, Rose. I'm in this class too.
I don't know who you are, but you're gross. I feel really uncomfortable with you here. Please get away from me. Okay?
Okay, everybody, settle down. Settle down. I'd like us all to send congratulations to Alex Ambrose, winner of this year's math competition. Stand up, Alex.
We're passing out awards to janitors.
It's like that movie where the janitor is secretly a math genius, except this is no Matt Damon.
Thanks for helping me with the chemistry homework, Alex.
Sure, no problem.
You're so smart. I don't know how you remember everything. Hey, would you want to go to the movies with me tonight? How about trying on the sweater I bought you from Saks Avenue?
It's really nice. Thank you. It's too expensive for me.
Don't be silly. Just try it on for me, Alex. You'd be so handsome if you just let me clean you up a little.
I know I'm not the coolest or most fashionable, but I like modesty and simple living. And I thought that's what you liked about me.
Let's go out to eat. I'll buy. And I don't know how much longer I can keep paying for us.
Hey, you loser.
Guys, stop being so mean. Alex, don't listen to them. I actually wanted to talk to you. Look, we all know that you barely make any money. So I was thinking you should apply for a job at my father's company. I can get you into one of his offices. The Brennan Empire, multi-billion-dollar corp. You've heard of us, I'm sure.
I don't get it. I thought you guys hated me. Why are you offering me a job?
Don't be silly. The guys joke around with everyone. And you're really smart. I'm sure there's a place for someone like you in one of my dad's many companies.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm interested.
It's just, there's one condition.
And what would that be?
I want you to break up with Kathy.
Why would I do that? Why would you even want me to do that?
It's simple, Alex. You're just low class. And Kathy's one of us. She deserves to be with someone in high society, like Billy. Not a low life like you.
You know what? Rose. I love Kathy. You can't buy me.
Good one.
You are too funny, bro.
You turned me down.
Yeah, what's wrong?
I was never going to give him the job anyway. I just wanted to have some fun watching him try, and then he just... You know that building that he lives in? It's owned by my father. He'll learn what it costs to reject an offer from the Brennans.
Excuse me. You guys can't just come in here. Who are you?
Doesn't matter who we are. What matters is your rent was due on the 1st. Today is the 5th. Plus you owe last month's rent also.
You'll get your money, I promise.
Promises, Alex. You have money to take your girlfriend out, but you don't pay your rent? The Brennans don't like not getting paid. Guys, throw them out.
Oh, hold on. So Rose's dad owns this building, huh? Yeah, I should have known. Brennans always seem to take advantage of people down on their luck. What scum, man.
Guys, pin them.
Get the hell off me!
Oh, saving for a rainy day, huh? Take this. Hardly enough to cover the rent, but it's a start.
It's tips from deliveries. I'm saving up to buy my girlfriend a gift. Leave it, please. I'll pay up as soon as
A
possible.
gift for your girlfriend. I'm definitely keeping this then. You know, Alex, why don't you just leave this place, huh? Can't afford this place, Alex.
I grew up here with my mom. This place reminds me of her. It's the only thing I have left of her in her memories.
Too bad. You're behind in your rent. It's time you left. The Brennans like their money and you're not paying.
I'll pay you whatever new price you're going to charge a tenant. Just give me back that money.
All right, guys, he's had enough. But I'm keeping this cash. Let's go.
Alex, are you going to say hi?
Hey,
What's with the attitude? Just because everyone thinks you're trash doesn't mean you have to act like it.
trash?
Heard about your money problems. Can't even pay rent. And Kathy's birthday is coming up. What are you going to do?
All thanks to you.
Look, Daddy's men were just doing what they were told. The offer's still open. The job. You won't have to be a broke ass anymore. Plus, if you work for us, nobody will bother you for rent. What do you think?
Fine. Okay.
Smart decision, Alex. So when are you breaking up with Kathy?
I genuinely love Kat. I'm not breaking up with her. There's no way. Is there any way we can make this work without the breakup?
Absolutely not. Either forget Kathy or forget the job.
No job's good enough to break up with Kat. Especially not one with your trash family.
Alex, listen up. Hey, what's going on, guys? Just talking to your boyfriend here. What do you even see in a loser like him? Loser? That's what you say, Rose. Give up the joke. How long are you going to be a sugar mommy for this piece of trash? Just because your father is rich doesn't mean you get to treat people like they're nothing. Alex is nothing. Ask him. He doesn't have a single penny on him. And he's 2 months behind on rent. My father owns the building that he stays in. He'll be out on the streets in no time. Enjoy the rest of your life with a loser. I don't think you should come inside.
Oh, okay. Why?
I think we should break up. Not happy anymore. And I'm tired of everyone making fun of me for being with you.
Since when do you care what other people think about?
It's not just that, Alex. It's the money. I'm sick and tired of paying for everything all the time. You don't even try to chip in anymore. It's not the life that I had imagined with my boyfriend.
I just need a little more time. My position in life is going to change. Everything will be different. All I'm asking for is just a little more patience, Kathy.
Patience? You don't think I've been patient with you? How much longer do you expect me to be this way? If I keep spending money like this, I'll go broke in 6 months. I like you, Alex. But I don't want to live the rest of my life in poverty. Everyone was right. You are a loser. And I deserve better. Promise that you won't reveal your secret to anyone, okay? Sir, can I be of assistance?
I'm here to check my bank balance.
Check your balance. Do you have a card?
Well, no.
Hello. Can I help you? I am the customer manager of this branch, and I am responsible for 31 VIPs. I know them all like the back of my hand. I do not know. Is there anything you need?
I'm here to check my money.
Do you have one of our cards?
No?
Well, sir, I can't give you access if you do not have a card. Do you require anything else?
Don't you have fingerprint recognition here?
Sir,
Alex.
Alex. The fingerprint ID system is reserved for only the wealthiest families and businesses. Only a few people have registered their fingerprints in the system, at least in this New York branch. As far as I know, no one has ever even used it to access their holdings.
I'd like to use it.
I see. Place your thumb on the screen.
Access denied.
Wait. Let me try my index finger. Maybe it's the wrong fingerprint.
What is your plan here? Your thumb doesn't work, so you try your index finger, and then if your index finger doesn't work, you try your middle finger, and then when you run out of fingers, you're going to start using your toes? Sir, if you don't leave now, I will call the police.
Access granted.
Mr. Ambrose, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm Robert Miller. I'm the manager of the New York branch. Please, is there any way I can assist you?
It's fine. Can I see how much money I have left in the account?
Yes, of course. Of course. Your balance is $86 million. Oh, you have other holdings as well. You see, the surveillance screen shows where your physical holdings are everywhere, as you can see.
All right. Is that it?
Yes. Let me give you one of our cards. How much money would you like to withdraw?
I don't wish to withdraw any money. Just the card for now is fine.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, Alex, is that your girlfriend right there? I wonder what she's gonna do with Billy tonight.
It's me. He's not my boyfriend anymore. Billy, let's go.
Are you out of your mind? I can't believe you would show up to a charity event looking homeless. You're going to ruin my father's good name.
You know what, Rose? I think I do have some unfinished business with the Brandons.
Yeah? What are you going to do? You're nothing. You can't hurt me, Alex.
Who gives a damn about you?
Thank you all for coming tonight. I am proud to report we are 75% on our way to finally putting that roof on that orphanage.
The charity event continued around Alex, but Kathy's harsh words still echoed in his mind. He had come here with a purpose, perhaps to finally reveal the truth about who he really was. But watching Rose sneer at him from across the room, seeing the same disgust and superiority that Kathy had shown him just hours earlier, something held him back. Not yet. These people had already shown their true nature. A revelation now would only bring fake apologies and hollow attention. Rose noticed him and whispered loudly to her friends, making cruel comments about his appearance and questioning why someone like him was even allowed at such an elegant event. Alex turned away from the crowd, away from the organizers and their speeches about helping others. The walk back to his dorm was quiet and cold. Kathy's rejection played over and over in his head. Back in his small room, Alex finally allowed himself to feel the full weight of the day's events.
Alex turned off his phone and lay in the bed. He stared at the wall but wasn't looking at it. He was thinking about Kathy's scene just now. I was with Kathy for a year, and yet she linked our relationship to helping a poor classmate? Her words are like a sword piercing my heart. Alex smiled bitterly to himself. Kathy liked money. How would she feel if she knew how rich I was? The next morning, Alex and his roommates returned to their dorm after class. They just finished eating their takeout and were preparing to relax for a while when Joe walked in. He looked depressed as he entered the room and said, "Something's happened." "What's happened? What's our sports department done this time?" Ben asked as he sipped water from his glass. "Something's happened to Rose." Joe sat down and looked at the other three. He was worried. "What's going on?" Alex knew from Joe's face that it was something bad. You know Rose slapped a guy when she left yesterday? Do you know who that man was? Joe answered his question. It was Lucille Brennan, the deputy manager of the Trader Joe's group. Holy shit! The Trader Joe's group? Ben exclaimed. He was shocked. He stood up and said loudly, the Trader Joe's group ranks in the top 10 in New York City, right? There were Trader Joe's retail offices on the streets that belonged to them, and this was one of the only businesses that belonged to their group. Rose is done at this time. Why did she hit him? She's definitely in trouble now. Alex glanced at Ben, who was still talking nonstop. Then Alex looked at Joe and asked, doesn't Rose also come from a powerful family? Isn't there anything they can do? Alex knew that Rose's family was rich enough to open an account at the First Republic Bank, so they must be powerful. Rose's family owns a company called Seafox Cargo Company, but it doesn't compare to the Trader Joe's Corporation, Joe said with a frown. Susan told me that Rose's company had bad news today. Rose's dad is really worried about several partnerships that are threatening to cancel. Joe crossed his arms. The Trader Joe's group must have done this. I've seen information about them on the internet. The boss of the group, Donald Brennan, is Lucille's father, and he's bad news. He's very ruthless in his business dealings. Carl looked at Ben, then looked at Alex. His face was grave. Just then, Joe's phone rang. It was his girlfriend, Susan. Joe answered the phone nervously. All right, I'll go right now. Okay, that's it. Bye then. Joe hung up the phone. Rose got a call from her dad. He's told her she has to fix it. He said the only way to resolve it is for her to spend one night with Lucille. Otherwise, Donald is going to ruin their family. Yesterday, I caught that lowlife Lucille looking weirdly at Rose. I think it'll cost her a lot to make it up to him. Damn it, this father and son are bloody shameless, Ben cursed angrily. Joe and the others also understood what it would mean for Rose to have to make it up to Lucille Brennan. Don't say any more. Let's go to Susan's dorm now and help Rose come up with some ideas. Joe stood up quickly. All four hurried outside and locked the door behind them. After checking with the dorm front desk worker, Joe led Alex and the others quickly to the third floor and pushed open the door of the dorm room that Rose shared with her friends. Although Rose and the others dressed well, the dorm room was run down. The blankets covering Susan's bed appeared to be of good quality, but the other three beds looked very disheveled. Susan, Stacy, and Betty sat beside Rose looking anxious. Rose sobbed and hugged her legs as she sat on the bed. How is she? Joe asked Susan as he entered the room. Susan stood up and dragged Joe and the others to the door. She turned around and looked at Rose with concern, then lowered her eyes and whispered to them. Rose's dad knows that she's the one that caused this trouble, and he shouted at her over the phone. She's been crying for almost 3 hours now, and her dad told her that if she can't sort things out, she'll be in a lot of trouble. Damn, what kind of father is he? Ben couldn't help but feel disgusted. I guess he's in a tight spot, Susan responded. After all, 7 or 8 of his business partners are threatening to cancel their contracts. Anyone who hasn't threatened yet still might. Her dad called me in secret and asked me to take care of Rose. He's looking for ways to resolve this situation. With that, Susan urged Joe and the others to Rose's side. Rose, don't cry. If Donald's family goes too far, we'll call the police to arrest them. Joe frowned as he tried to comfort her. Ben took out his phone and said forcefully, Let's call the police now. I'll call 911. Don't, Rose cried. Only then did she look up. Her face had been buried in her knees. Her watery eyes were red from crying, and she'd lost all traces of the arrogance that had been so evident the previous day. After all, Ben and the others were trying to help her. She wiped her nose with the tissue that Betty handed to her. With tears in her eyes, she said, It's useless to call the police. It will only make things worse. Rose was, after all, the child of a rich family. She had seen and heard some of the methods her father and the other bosses used to deal with such matters. The police might anger Donald Brennan. If he was completely enraged, with his strength and power, the situation could get 100 times worse than it was now. We need to find someone else to help, Ben said. If we can find someone even more powerful, they might be able to sort it out. I'll call my dad and ask him. He stood up, took out his phone, and went to one side to make a call. I'll ask too. Susan, Stacy, and Betty all answered. However, they all knew in their hearts that with their family's connections, there was no way they could stop Donald, the boss of the Trader Joe's group. Alex spoke for the first time. Don't worry, it'll all be sorted out soon. Hearing Alex's voice, Rose was slightly stunned. She stopped wiping her nose and raised her head. She shot a cold gaze toward Alex. You came too, she said. Alex nodded slightly, but didn't say anything. Judging by Rose's expression, she didn't seem to want him there. Susan quickly spoke up for Alex. Rose, Alex came to help you think of a way out of this. He's worried about you. Worried, Rose sneered. If it wasn't for you yesterday, we wouldn't have bumped into Lucille. And if we hadn't bumped into Lucille, the incident would have never happened, she exclaimed. Then she pointed at the door and shouted, Scram! Get out of my room right now! Rose, listen to yourself, Susan said. She felt that Rose was being unfair. After all, Alex came to help you, and you speak to him like that? Alex didn't say anything. He slowly turned around and walked toward the door. Joe hung up the phone and followed to comfort his friend. Alex, are you all right? He asked. Rose was out of order just now, but remember how stressed she is today. Don't lower yourself to her level. Forgive her. I know, it's fine. Alex smiled faintly. All right, go quickly and persuade her. Tell her not to worry. It'll be fine. Alex walked out as if nothing had happened. Joe watched Alex go and shook his head before returning quickly to the dorm. I don't ever want to see that lowlife again. Rose was still cursing Alex. When she saw Joe come in, she stopped and took out her cell phone. I just had an idea. I'm going to call my old school friend to see if he can help. Hello, Zane, it's Rose. Rose began to tell Zane about her situation. The others in the dorm also contacted anyone they could think of who might be able to help them. Hey, Uncle Chuck, it's me, Stacy. Can you do me a favor? My roommate and Donald Brennan from the Trader Joe's group. What? You can't afford to offend him? No, you should at least try to talk to him. Oh, okay, I'll look for someone else. Goodbye, Uncle Chuck. Hey, Aunt Ruth, can you help me with something? Alex walked out of the girls' dormitory, took a breath of fresh air, and took out his phone. From memory, he pressed a number and put the phone to his ear. He heard the phone ring 3 times before an elderly voice answered. Sir, you finally called. You've been suffering and away from home for so many years, and I've been feeling guilty and powerless to help. Mark, you're being too hard on yourself, Alex replied. After 7 years, Alex's heart swelled with emotion to hear the voice of his family's butler. My poverty training is over. I can use the family's influence now, right? Of course. Starting from the day before yesterday, the family's already lifted all restrictions on you, Mark replied happily. Yes, I want to confront Donald Brennan of the Trader Joe's group. Alex got straight to the point. Trader Joe's group, Trader Joe's group. Mark mumbled to himself twice. Forgive this old servant for being slow-witted, but where does this group of Trader Joe's come from? It's one of New York's local businesses, Alex explained. Alex's family influences the world. Trader Joe's group was one of the top 10 enterprises in New York, but it wasn't that grand from a global perspective. Trader Joe's, Mark exclaimed. Of course, it falls under our family's East Coast Division of Management. I'll inform Ken, manager of the East Coast Division. Sir, what are you going to confront? Tell him to stop all actions against the Seafox Cargo Company, Alex said lightly. Okay, don't worry, sir. Within half an hour, no matter what dealings Donald has with the Seafox Cargo, he'll stop, Mark said with a faint smile. Good. Alex then hung up. After receiving Alex's order, Mark immediately made sure that the message got to Ken. manager of the East Coast Division. By this time, the father of Zane, the high school classmate that Rose had called, had agreed to his son's request and rushed over to New York City to resolve the issue. He was a junior high school classmate of the union's president, William Chase. If William agreed to help, he could resolve this matter. At this time, William was in the union building, negotiating with an investment company. Both sides had 10 members, and the deal involved a total amount of $125 million. The negotiation had reached its most critical moment. They all felt that they could reach an agreement within 10 minutes, which would result in William's company receiving an investment of $125 million. At this critical moment, the door of the meeting room was pushed open, and William's secretary walked in. William frowned. The others also looked annoyed. It was considered very rude for the secretary to interrupt negotiations. However, the secretary approached William and whispered a few words into his ear. William's expression changed noticeably, and he stood up, clearly deep in thought. He said to the others, "Everyone, I'm sorry, but I have some urgent matters to take care of right now. We'll talk about this meeting later today. Please forgive me." Then he nodded his head, turned around, and walked toward the door. "Mr. Chase, if you leave now, I don't think we'll need to continue our discussion because I will lose all faith in you," the most important representative of the investment company said to William. He was livid. "If that's the case, I'm sorry." William turned around, said something to his secretary, and quickly walked out. His secretary had just informed him that Ken Stokes was about to call him to solve the problem between the Trader Joe's Group and the Sea Fox Cargo Company. To him, Ken's words were much more important than $125 million. The business talks have collapsed, he thought, but we can discuss business another time. However, if I've upset Ken, it won't just be a simple matter of losing some money. I could lose my position as the president of the union. Ken Stokes was a member of the union, or in its chain, but in the upper echelons of New York society, he was extremely prestigious. William and his secretary rushed out of the building at the same moment that Finn Harrison arrived. "Mr. Chase." Finn walked toward William with a smile. He thought that having been friends since school, William Chase would help him out this time. However, William only glanced at him and then ignored him. He climbed into the car and drove away. Meanwhile, Alex had walked to the side of the campus's Ramsey Lake and sat down on a large rock deep in thought. On the riverbank, he saw a couple snuggling together, and his mind was flooded with happy memories. He thought about a time when he and Kathy had been so happy. He remembered helping her cook and riding together to take their exams. He used the money he had saved to buy cosmetics for Kathy. Alex's train of thought was broken by his phone ringing. He brought his mind back to the present as the name Zara Fitzgerald appeared on the screen. Zara was the captain of the school's cheerleading squad, and Alex was also a member of the squad. The rest of the squad were girls, so they needed someone to move the props around, to lift the stereo, and to go buy the ice cream. They also needed someone to fan them when they were hot. Of course, a boy was needed. Because of this, Alex became the cheerleading team's service assistant. In other words, it was free, hard labor. "Hello, Alex. You must come to the West Campus sports field right now." "What is it?" Alex asked. "If I tell you to do something, just do it. Cut the crap or you're dead." Zara hung up the phone. Alex put his phone in his pocket, stood up, and quickly headed toward the West Campus sports field. Walking toward the West sports field, Alex saw 5 or 6 pretty girls heading his way. The tallest girl addressed him. "Alex, you finally came. Why did you take so long?" It was Zara Fitzgerald who had just called him. Zara took out $10 and gave it to Alex. "Buy 6 bottles of water for the squad." "Captain, why didn't you ask on the phone? I would have bought it on my way over," Alex asked while holding the $10 in his hand. "Then why are you in such a bad mood today? It's not fair. What's wrong? Can't you take it anymore?" Zara's eyes opened wide as she opened and closed her mouth. Her words shot toward Alex like a cannonball. No, all right, I'll go buy it now, Alex said, choosing to go and buy the water rather than argue with Zara Fitzgerald. When Alex returned with the water, he gave the $4 change to Zara. The girls from the cheerleading team each took a bottle and drank the water from it. Alex, fan me, Zara Fitzgerald ordered Alex. Alex had nothing else to do, so he started to fan Zara. They were sitting on a nearby basketball court, watching the school basketball team practicing for a match. After resting for half an hour, Zara clapped her hands and called the cheerleaders to continue practicing. Alex sat alone in the grandstand and watched Zara and the rest of the squad practice. The seats around him were all filled with the girls' bags and training equipment. Alex heard someone say, "Hello, why aren't you playing with them?" Girl walked over from his side, smiled at Alex, and sat down beside him. Alex was stunned for a moment. This girl had long hair, an oval face, snow-white skin, clear black and white eyes, and a friendly expression. "Hello," Alex replied. Just as Alex was about to say something else, a tall boy wearing a Lakers jersey walked over and said, "Hi, beautiful. Why are you bothering with him? He's just the babysitter of the cheerleading squad. He's the one who does all the dirty work. I have no idea why Zara Fitzgerald let him join the squad when he's so poor." "Oh," the girl looked at Alex kindly. "Before you came, this loser was fanning the girls in the cheering squad. That's all he's good for." The male fanned himself and gave the girl a teasing smile. Then the tall guy reached out his hand to the girl. "Hello, my name is Dean Marshall. I'm the star player in the school basketball team, and I've started my own business. It's doing pretty well. My annual income should only be around $2 million. What do you think of that?" The more he looked at her, the more he liked her. With his good looks and other attributes, he knew that he could win any girl he wanted. The girl glanced at Dean's outstretched hand in hesitation, but took it. She just looked at him and smiled. "Hello, I'm Rachel O'Connor, a friend of Zara." Dean took his hand back a little embarrassed and said, "Rachel O'Connor. It's a nice name. Zara and the squad are training, and it's difficult to talk here. Let's go and walk around the field together, and we can have a chat." "Thank you, but there's no need." Rachel smiled faintly. Dean was furious, but he was unwilling to give up on such a beautiful girl. He wanted to stay and fight for her, but just then, someone on the basketball court called out to him, and he had to run back to the court. "What's your name?" Rachel turned her head and looked at Alex with a gentle smile. "Alex," he replied automatically. His attention was entirely focused on Rachel's demeanor. He could detect neither contempt nor pity in her beautiful eyes as she looked at him. Alex felt very comfortable with her. As he looked into Rachel's eyes, he started to smile. Zara Fitzgerald and the cheerleading team completed 2 more jumps. Then Zara walked over to Alex and Rachel and said, "Rachel, why are you talking to him?" Zara looked at Rachel with a little surprise. She pinched Alex's shoulders and then shoved him out of the way so she could sit beside her friend. In a serious voice, she said, "I only hired him because I wanted someone to help me carry the stereo and move the outfits. You can tell from his clothes that he's just a poor slob. I don't care about that. I think he seems quite nice," Rachel said with a smile. "Quite nice." Zara completely disagreed with her friend. She gave Alex a stern look and said, "I knew it. You only came over to talk to Rachel because you think she's beautiful. Don't you know your place? I'm warning you, don't even think about Rachel." Alex wanted to explain, but he didn't know what to say. "What about me? Seriously," Alex began, but as Zara's gaze became sharper, he stopped mid-sentence. Seeing that Alex had stopped talking, Rachel looked at him helplessly. They were interrupted by Zara's cell phone ringing. She took out a phone on a pink cover and looked at the number, frowning slightly. She stood up and walked away slightly to answer the call. "Hey, my favorite cousin, don't be too stressed. Your family's just worried because you're not married yet." Okay. If you're free, why don't you come to the amusement park? Come and walk around the park. Try to stop worrying. Call me if you need anything." Then Zara hung up the phone and sat down beside Rachel with a grim expression. "What's wrong?" Rachel asked as she placed her hand on her friend's knee. It's my cousin. She's getting older, and her family's urging her to hurry up and get married. Zara glanced at Rachel with downcast eyes. She said, Your cousin is very beautiful. She doesn't have to worry about getting married. Rachel smiled. Zara glanced at Rachel and tuttered, Rachel, you don't understand. Of course my cousin is worried about getting married. The problem is who will marry her. You've seen her photo. As she spoke, Zara glanced at Alex with a look of disdain and said, We can't marry poor losers like him, right? After the training session, Zara and the other girls from the cheerleading squad left with the basketball team. The task of cleaning up the equipment naturally fell to Alex, the service assistant. Rachel looked at Alex with pity. She wanted to stay and help him organize the equipment, but Zara pulled her away, saying, Alex's only value to the cheerleading squad is helping us pack up. Otherwise, we would have kicked him out already. As Alex was packing up the equipment for the cheerleading squad and putting it in the storeroom, his phone rang. It was Mark. Sir, Ken said that the matter has been settled. Okay, that's great, Alex said and hung up the phone. Alex couldn't believe how quickly his family had sorted it out. It had only been an hour since Alex called them. He guessed that Rose would soon hear the news. Later, at around 5 that afternoon, Alex was jogging when he received a call from Joe. Joe seemed very happy. Alex, where are you? At the sports field. Why do you sound so happy? Is everything all right now with Rose? Alex thought that the news must have reached her by now. Wow, how did you know? Her dad only called 20 minutes ago and you already knew? Joe asked in surprise. You sound so happy that I knew the problem must be sorted. Alex smiled faintly. That's true. Joe raised his voice again and said, Now that you're back in her good books, Rose said she wants to treat you to dinner. We're already on our way there. You guys go ahead. I don't want to go. Rose hated him so much. He knew that if he went, he'd just be miserable. Come on, all your friends are here. Are you too scared to come? I don't want to go. You guys have fun. If you don't come, you're not our friend anymore. You decide what you want to do. Joe shouted and hung up. In addition to Rose's and his roommates, there were also a few unfamiliar faces. Alex smiled wryly as he heard the call end. He walked slowly out of the school gate and went to the restaurant. As soon as he entered, he could hear his friends, and he followed the noise to find their table. More than 10 people were sitting around a table. They must be Rose's friends. Forget it, he thought. Alex walked slowly toward the table, and everyone turned and looked at him. Rose, who was chatting with her friends, turned around and saw that Alex had arrived. A look of hatred flashed across her eyes as she said, Did I tell you to come? Fine, I'm in a good mood, so I guess you can take advantage of that and stay. Then she resumed her conversation and didn't give Alex another look. As Alex stopped walking and looked at Rose's back, he felt his heart flutter. Forget that I helped her this time. I won't have anything to do with her from now on. Joe quickly walked over to Alex and whispered to him, Leave her alone. Your friends are happy you came. Come and sit with me. As he spoke, Joe pulled Alex over and sat down beside him. As Alex sat down, Rose glanced at him in disgust. Alex didn't even look at her, deciding to save himself from the embarrassment. Rose, what happened? Why do you hate him? An unfamiliar girl glanced at Alex and whispered to Rose. The others who didn't know anything about the situation also looked at Rose, waiting for her explanation. Rose's gaze swept across Alex, and then she looked at the others. She sneered arrogantly and said, This guy's unbelievable. We went to the Metro Sky Bank to withdraw money yesterday morning, but he doesn't even have a card for that bank. Those who didn't know what had happened all covered their mouths and smiled when they heard Rose's words. They couldn't help but look at Alex. Only Susan, Joe, and the others who were familiar with the situation looked extremely embarrassed. They were all thinking, We're all eating here together. Even if you don't like Alex, do you have to expose his weakness in front of others? One by one, the waiter brought the plates of food to the table. The 10 of them gathered together, chatting and laughing while Alex only chatted with Joe and Ben beside him, not with Rose and the others. Rose was saying, "Guess what? In the end, the chairman of Trader Joe's, Donald Brennan, personally came to my dad's office to apologize to him. That's what you call humility." She recounted the news she had heard from her father. Her friends replied, "Awesome, Rose. To be honest, I didn't expect that your family could solve this problem so easily. After all, this is Trader Joe's, one of the top 10 enterprises in New York City." "Yeah, Donald has awesome power. It's even on the internet. He once made a company disappear, but your family problem was solved in less than a day," another guy said as he gave a thumbs up. "Tell us who exactly helped your family so we can tell everyone," another boy said to Rose as he smiled. "Of course, I must also wonder who helped my dad. Donald Brennan might be a tough nut to crack for others, but it seems that he's no match for my dad," Rose said. "Wait a minute. I'll call my dad and ask him." She took out her cell phone, dialed her father's number, and turned on the speaker. "Dad, which uncle did you ask for help this time?" Rose suddenly felt that something wasn't right. "When Dad called me this morning to have a go at me, he said all kinds of mean things," she thought. "He said that he couldn't do anything to make Donald give in after the disaster I've caused." Could it be that later on, in a flash of inspiration, he's remembered someone powerful that he didn't think about before? An idea flashed through Rose's mind. While Rose Scott was daydreaming, her father woke up. "My daughter, I've got the matter resolved. I said a lot to you in anger. Asked you to make it up to Lucille. Don't be mad at me, please." Her father's words made Rose blush even more. "What are you talking about? My friends are all listening. You were so mean to me, Dad. How could you have said all of that?" she exclaimed. Rose's face turned red as she stood up and walked a few feet to take the call personally. "Dad, you're not the one who found a solution, are you?" Rose asked. "If I could have found a solution, do you think I'd ask you to make it up to Lucille?" Rose closed her eyes and took a deep breath, pushing down the curses that were rising in her throat. "Can you not mention this anymore? My friends all knew and were listening just now. You've completely embarrassed your daughter." "Your friends were all there? Oh, but it's not my fault. Rose, why didn't you mention that when you made this call?" her father asked. Moving on. I wish I could find a hole to hide in." Rose held her forehead in her hands. "Why did you not mention it? I thought that you were just trying to show off in front of your friends that you had connections and found a solution. But now it seems you haven't shown off. You've become an idiot who blew this up into a scandal," her father exclaimed. He paused, then added, "Hey, Rose, could it be that a friend of yours helped you find a solution?" "A friend?" Rose turned around and glanced at the other people around the table. It was quite possible. They had all made calls for her. "It's probably because of a friend. They did us a big favor, so you have to thank them well," her father said. "Fine, that's it. I'm hanging up." Rose's attitude was much more casual now. Could it be that a friend had helped her? Before, her father was scolding her, and now he's making her feel bad. Wait a minute. The person who helped our family could be related to the president of the New York City Merchant Union, William Chase. This matter seemed solved through William. This friend is no ordinary person, her dad added at the end. After hanging up the phone, Rose walked back to the dining table with suspicion. After hearing about this, everyone was very interested. Who was it that could get so close to someone like William Chase? Rose's expression was very calm. She scanned everyone's face and finally locked her gaze onto the right side of Betty Thompson's head. Betty was closest to her, so Rose asked with a smile, "Betty, was it you who helped me?" Betty was stunned, shook her head, and said with a wry smile, "How could I have such a strong connection? Are you kidding me, Rose?" "Really?" Rose's face lowered slightly as she asked again. "It wasn't." Betty felt a bit scared. Rose's gaze shifted to Stacy, who was sitting beside Betty. "Stacy, did you help me?" No, I can't take credit for it. Rose, I've already used up my favors with all the relatives that could have helped," Stacy said as she shook her head. Rose's gaze turned to each person one by one. "Joe, did you help me? Ben, was it you?" Rose asked everyone, but when she got to Alex, She skipped over him. She was not sure about the others, but she thought to herself, this Alex, this fool that dared to enter First Republic Bank without a card? Was it him? Is this a joke? Then who was it? Rose lowered her gaze as she seriously pondered this question. A name flashed through her mind like a bolt of lightning. Zane. Apart from the people here, the only person Rose had contacted was Zane. Zane must have been the one that helped. Rose grabbed her phone and called Zane. Was it him? How could his family have a relationship with William Chase? She asked herself. Zane answered while Rose was still feeling suspicious. Hey, Rose, how are you doing? Zane asked urgently. Did you help me? Rose did not slow down to answer his question. She wanted to know Zane's answer first. I begged my dad after you called me. My dad said that he and Mr. Chase used to be classmates, so he would go and give it a try. But I haven't asked my dad about it yet, Zane said uncertainly. It's done. It's been solved perfectly. Rose beamed with joy. Zane, I knew it was you. My dad told me that someone went to look for Mr. Chase to intervene. Zane, thank you so much. It's fine as long as it's solved. What is there to thank me for? It was nothing. Zane's tone softened. You also know how strong the Trader Joe's group is. Even if they were to disappear or go bankrupt, Lucille definitely won't let the spat go like that. I might have been... Look, you've helped me a lot. Rose felt a lingering fear in her heart as she thought about this. The gratitude she felt towards Zane intensified, and tears started to well up in her eyes. Don't think like that. Zane smiled faintly. Come to Rookie's Lodge now. I'll treat you here. I'll thank you in person. Rose invited him enthusiastically. Yep, I'll head over right away, Zane agreed. Thinking of Rose's charming face, a trace of a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. After hanging up the phone, Rose proudly looked around. When the others heard about William Chase, they were shocked. Someone who could befriend the likes of him was no ordinary person. Rose had such a good friend. How could they not be envious? They looked forward to seeing Zane. Zane was studying at Preston University, and he was not far from campus. When Zane arrived at Rookie's Lodge and saw the other people with the look of envy in their eyes, his heart became a bit calmer and his expression a bit haughty. Zane was 6 feet tall and a bit chubby with a slightly oily complexion to his white face. Hi, Zane. Rose walked up to Zane with a smile on her face and grabbed his hand. She stared into his eyes like a little girl. Thank you. I'm touched that you helped me when I needed you the most. Zane glanced at Rose's hand. With a boost of courage, he gently grabbed her hand and looked at her charming face. His eyes were unmoved as he gently said, Don't say such things. It's not a big deal. Rose smiled sweetly and pulled him toward the table. The others at the table all stood up when they saw Zane coming over and looking at him fawningly. Zane had a connection with influential people in the city, so he had a much higher position than his classmates. So many people, Zane whispered to himself as he walked toward the dining table. He felt very satisfied as he saw everyone standing up to welcome him. He lowered his hand and said, Everyone, why are you all standing there? After Zane's words, they all sat down. You sit with me. Rose pulled Zane toward her seat, but he was so strong. Susan Ogden called out to the others to shift their seats, but Rose and Zane still felt crowded. Alex, she said as she motioned him to move. Just when everyone was moving the chairs, Rose looked at Alex with a dark expression. When Alex looked back at her, Rose felt embarrassed. Then she bluntly said, Why don't you leave first? I didn't ask you to come out anyway, and now you're almost done eating. The university isn't too far away, so you should go back to your dorm. At that moment, everyone felt a chill and looked at Rose and then Alex. Alex's face stiffened, and his heart felt like it was being pierced by a needle. A faint feeling of regret rose inside of him. Alex shifted his gaze away from Rose's face. With a smile of understanding appearing on his face, he nodded, put down his fork, stood up, and walked outside. Walking out of the elegant restaurant, Alex looked up at the night sky with wrinkled eyes, and his heart filled with bitterness. Joe and the others tried to chase after Alex, Alex walked along the street toward the university. Both sides of the street were lined with a variety of carts and red sheds with dim yellow light bulbs hanging from them. Passing through the couples, Alex felt a little lonely. He lowered his head slightly and quickly crossed the street. He walked onto the campus and headed towards the dormitory. Mark Stevens, Alex's family butler, called as Alex tried to lay down on his bed.
Alex, the person in charge of the East Coast Division, Ken Stokes, knows that you've been in poverty training in New York for many years. He hopes to meet with you.
Alex's family business is centered in the United States, with businesses and influence all over the world, including South America, Western Europe, Africa, and East Asia. That's okay, Alex said with his easygoing personality. Since there wasn't anything going on at the moment, Alex added, "It would be good to see the people working for my family."
All right, I'll notify him right away and ask him to meet you at Preston University then,
Mark suggested. "No need, Mark. I'll go see Mr. Stokes. It's not convenient to meet at the university," Alex replied, rejecting Mark's suggestion. It would put on too much of a show if Ken, the head of the family's main district, came to the university to meet with him. Alex didn't want to look too flamboyant, and he still wanted to stay at university for a few more days to live a peaceful life.
Alex, you are a descendant of the family. It is not in line with the rules for you to go see him. Ken is just a person in charge of a large area. How could I bother you?
Mark said in fear. It's fine. Mark, you're overthinking it. I just want to take a walk around the city. Don't worry about it. Alex didn't care much for these formalities.
Alex, you treat your subordinates well. I'll speak with Ken now,
Mark said with a grateful voice. Okay, Alex said and hung up the phone. Mark called back right away.
Alex, Ken will be having lunch at the Plaza Hotel tomorrow. Would it be all right for you to join him there?
Tomorrow works for me, Alex replied. After hanging up with Mark, Alex laid down on the bed and played with his phone for a while before falling asleep. He woke up to the sound of voices, squinted, and saw that his roommates had returned. Zane is such a pain. He still has to go sing after dinner. He's got such a bad voice, Ben cursed. When we came back, it was already raining. He couldn't have taken Rose out for a ride on his motorcycle, right? Carl Cooper frowned as his glasses reflected the lights. All right, go wash up and sleep. Stop being so noisy. Joe saw that Alex was sleeping and whispered to Ben and Carl as they went to wash their faces. The next day, when Alex walked out of the dorm on his way to class, the ground outside was already wet and the air was fresh. After his second class, Alex felt he needed a rest and went to his dorm. He was getting ready to put his head down on the desk when Joe hastily ran in. Something happened to Rose, Joe exclaimed worriedly as he ran over to Alex. What about her? Ben asked with his mouth wide open. Rose was too much, wasn't she? One incident after another, Ben thought to himself. Did she fall yesterday? Carl asked without shock. How did you know? Joe asked, feeling slightly shocked. It rained very heavily last night. If they were on a motorcycle, it would be very easy for something to go wrong, said Carl as he pushed up his glasses. Yeah, I was training on the sports field just now. Susan called me. She said that Zane took Rose out for a motorcycle ride when the ground was too wet. They ended up in the hospital last night. Their dorm went there early in the morning. She told me to go visit too, Joe told him in one breath. Come on, let's go see her now. After all, Rose had invited us to dinner last night. Joe patted both Ben and Carl on their shoulders. Let's go see her, said Ben as he and Carl stood up. Alex, are you coming? Joe looked over at Alex, who was just sitting there in his seat. You go ahead. I still have some things to take care of, Alex said, shaking his head. Yep, good, said Joe. Having learned from yesterday's lesson, Joe didn't force Alex to go. He followed Ben and Carl to the dorm room door, waved goodbye to Alex, and with that, the three of them disappeared. Alex got up and walked out of the university. He called a taxi and went straight to the Plaza Hotel. It was considered one of the most luxurious hotels in New York. Although New York was filled with tall buildings, this square glass building was quite eye-catching. The hotel's plaza that surrounded it was filled with all sorts of luxury cars. Alex walked towards the door of the hotel. When he walked in, he found that the door, which seemed very low from a distance, was as tall as 2 floors. The hotel interior dazzled in gold and jade. The grand crystal chandelier, golden lights, beige floor tiles, bright red carpets, and exquisitely dressed service staff were all showcasing the extravagance and richness of the hotel. Alex stepped onto the 2-meter-wide red carpet and walked towards the elevator. As the elevator doors were slowly closing, Alex saw a woman with flawless makeup running toward the elevator. He quickly pressed the button to open the doors. She had long and beautiful hair, snow-white skin, and long eyelashes. She wore a pink chiffon sweater and a pair of tight jeans with a diamond necklace hanging from her snow-white neck. She looked very full of energy. Alex stepped to the side and let the beautiful woman walk in. He could smell the scent of her expensive perfume. Her walk drew attention to her curvy figure. Alex had only seen this kind of beauty on his computer before. He was stunned to see a real-life woman like this in front of him. The elevator door closed, leaving only Alex and this long-haired beauty inside. With such a stunning beauty next to him, Alex's heart was moved. Unknowingly, his gaze had secretly drifted toward her. "What are you looking at?" she exclaimed as she turned her head and stared at Alex. Nothing." Alex was shocked. When her flawless face appeared in front of him, his heart jumped as if it were about to fly out of his chest. It startled him so much that he quickly stood up proper. Her face turned red when she saw Alex blushing from her remark. She turned back again to face the mirror-like wall inside the elevator. Fiddling with her necklace and bending her face slightly closer toward the wall, she puckered her lips to check her lipstick. Alex had already warned himself not to look at this woman anymore. But now that she had moved, her butt was even perkier than it was before. How could he bear it? He secretly reached out and touched her butt while sneaking a few glances. "Are you still looking?" She turned around and asked aggressively, stopping only a few centimeters away from him. She trembled slightly, and Alex could feel a trace of her warmth. Alex's heartbeat quickened, and he felt a sudden hot sensation in his nose. Blood began to flow out. He quickly raised his head. "You have no future. Oh, you're bleeding from your nose?" Seeing this, she was no longer angry. She crossed her arms and looked at Alex with a smile. Alex felt his nose itch. "Achoo!" Alex couldn't help but sneeze. "Yuck! Why are you so lacking in manners?" she shouted. Alex opened his eyes and saw that he had just sneezed, spurting blood from his nose onto her chiffon sweater. Sorry. Alex quickly apologized and took out a tissue to wipe the blood off her sweater. Alex's hand almost touched her chest. He had even wiped it twice with a tissue, but in less than a second, his attention shifted. So big, so soft, he thought dreamily. "What are you doing?" she shouted while angrily glaring at Alex. Alex still didn't react. "Pervert!" she cursed angrily as she raised her hand and slapped Alex across the face. At that moment, the elevator reached the top floor. As soon as the elevator door opened, the long-haired beauty ran out toward the bathroom. Alex touched his hot and painful face, looking at her back. He was slightly dazed. The 5 fingers across the face were all worth it. Alex couldn't help but recall how he felt when he put his hand on her chest. Alex followed her to the bathroom and waited for her at the door. He wanted to apologize. "I'm sorry, I didn't do that on purpose." Alex hurried forward to apologize as he saw her come out. "Scram! If it wasn't for the important guests I have today, I would have you sent to the police station." She didn't accept Alex's apology at all. She pushed him away and quickly walked forward on her heels. Alex staggered as he looked at her back. He scratched his head and went to take care of his nose in the bathroom. Then he slowly walked to room 888, which had been arranged for his meeting with Ken. Room 888 was already filled with people. Ken Stokes, a well-proportioned and middle-aged man, stood at the door of the room. He chatted with the general manager of the Plaza Hotel. "Are you ready?" The general manager bent his body slightly forward and respectfully said, "Everything has been prepared according to your directions. The only ingredients for the meals you brought this time were an eye-opener for our hotel. You are the only one in New York who can find so many precious ingredients." Ken didn't pay any attention to the general manager's flattery and simply said, "My guest is about to arrive, so go busy yourself." As soon as the general manager left, the long-haired beauty ran in. When she saw Ken, she walked up to him as if she had made a mistake. "Mr. Stokes, I'm late. Sorry." "Sit down." Ken looked at her speechlessly and sighed. "Luckily, Alex Ambrose still hasn't arrived. Otherwise, I would have lost face because of you." She smiled apologetically as she sat down in silence. Ken stood at the door of the private room and waited anxiously. A moment later, Alex casually appeared in the corridor. Ken was startled and rushed over to greet him. "Mr. Ambrose, you're here. Come in, come in." After being respectfully invited by Ken, Alex walked into room 888. Everyone in the room stood up. Most of them wore suits and were in their 40s or 50s. They were all upper-class people from New York and the surrounding states. "These are all people who work in the East Coast Division." Ken introduced them to Alex and then said to the others, "This is Mr. Alex Ambrose." "Greetings, Mr. Ambrose," they said in unison. "It's him," thought the long-haired beauty. When she saw Alex, her eyes widened in disbelief, her entire body filled with unease and apprehension. Had I just shouted at the family's heir in the elevator? Alex also noticed her, and he hadn't expected that this sexy, long-haired beauty would be in the room. Alex's gaze lingered on her face for a second, before he returned to normal and calmly said, "Everyone sit down. Mr. Ambrose, please take a seat." Ken gestured to a seat beside the beautiful long-haired woman. "Oh," Alex realized and walked to his seat before giving the long-haired beauty an indifferent glance. He glanced at Ken again. Noticing the questioning look in Alex's eyes, Ken explained who the long-haired beauty was to him. "She is the director of East Coast Division's Information Department, Lucy Smith." Lucy looked at Alex with a very bitter, powerless, and dejected smile. It was no wonder that she would laugh out loud no matter how optimistic she was. "Mr. Ambrose, please have a taste. I had this dish specially prepared for you," Ken suggested as he placed a dish before Alex. "Okay," Alex said, picking up a mouthful of the dish and putting it in his mouth. It was very tasty. "It's been more than 7 years since I've eaten in such an upscale hotel. This is the first time I've eaten something so delicious in a long time," Alex thought silently in his heart. What Alex did not know was that when the other guests tasted the dishes, their appetites were also stirred, and their hearts were also filled with yearning. The banquet soon ended. Alex had eaten until his belly was full. "Mr. Ambrose, have you finished? I'll take you to Paul's Cocktail Lounge Club to rest after you're done eating," Ken asked respectfully by his side. It was rare for the young heir to show such appreciation, so he had to serve Alex well. "The clubhouse?" thought Alex. "No need," Alex said. Lucy had been relaxing along the side of the room after the banquet. After seeing Alex's shy expression, she couldn't help but cover her mouth and quietly chuckle. "Alex was so cute," she admitted it to herself. Ken nodded, and the others all sat down and stared at Alex without saying anything. Alex looked at the dishes on the table and seemed to be deep in thought. He took out his phone and looked at the time. It was 1:30 in the afternoon. "Mr. Ambrose, is there a problem?" Ken asked worriedly. It felt it had been difficult for him to entertain Alex, and he felt he may have failed. If true, and this was spread to the elders, would they blame him? The others also nervously looked at Alex. Inviting their young heir to a meal was no small matter, and they couldn't handle the stress. How could a bunch of elites from the East Coast Division have the ability to entertain this young man? No, Alex shook his head slowly. Then you are... Ken was confused. Alex smacked his lips, looked at Ken, and said, "These dishes were pretty delicious, so I want to bring some back for my friends to have a taste." Hearing Alex's words, Ken and the others looked at each other in dismay. For a moment, they were unable to react. So, Mr. Ambrose was thinking of picking up some food for his roommates. Isn't this unexpected? Thought Ken. A rich, second-generation heir was so considerate of his friends? While the others were surprised, they were also very impressed with Alex. With such a rich family, the absence of putting on airs, Alex would become someone great in the future. Alex didn't understand their point of view. The others looked at him in a daze. He simply pointed at the delicious dishes on the table and said, "Mr. Stokes, help me pack this, and this." Yes, I'll do it now." Ken nodded as he came back to his senses. As he said that, he had walked to the side of the room and began dialing his phone for the general manager to arrange it. Naturally, the general manager didn't dare to hesitate and ordered the kitchen to make the dishes again with the ingredients that Ken had brought. When all the dishes were prepared again, the general manager added a bottle of good wine along with the food. Half an hour later, the general manager and 2 attendants arrived at room 888. Each of the attendants carried a blue and white box in their hands. The general manager said, "Mr. Stokes, it's ready." "Mr. Ambrose, are you satisfied?" Ken opened one of the boxes and saw that all kinds of dishes were packed into smaller boxes inside. "There's too much. I only have 3 roommates. I only want 1 box, so don't waste this. If you can sell it, just sell it. If you can't sell it to your people, just eat it." Alex forced a smile and said, "I only asked for 3 dishes to be cooked." Yet Ken had ordered all the dishes on the table again. "Let me help you carry it." Ken picked up the box himself and followed behind Alex. The group of people from the room also followed him out of the hotel. "All right, you can all go back now. I'll just take a taxi," Alex said as he looked at the crowd. "Mr. Ambrose, I'll take you there. My car is over there." Lucy invited her driver to come out. Sure," Alex agreed. With Lucy escorting Alex off, Ken and the rest felt relieved. After bidding Alex farewell, they all left. As they walked to the car, Lucy started to apologize to Alex. "Mr. Ambrose, thank you so much for letting me take you back. It was me in the elevator." She grabbed his hand and said, "Please slap me a few times as well." No need, Director Smith. What are you doing?" Alex retracted his hand and said, "I shouldn't have looked at you in the elevator. It's nothing." "It's my good luck that you saw me. I hope you're not angry with me. I'm very grateful. Thank you, sir." Lucy bowed to Alex as she kept talking. "All right, let's just get me back to campus." Alex smiled faintly. "Yes," Lucy responded. As they walked, Alex took out his cell phone and called his roommate, Joe. "Where are you?" "I'm still at the hospital in Rose's room," Joe replied. They're still in Rose's room, Alex thought. I should go there now with all this freshly cooked food. Alex frowned slightly and said, "What's Rose's room number? I'll head over there now." They arrived at Lucy's Mercedes-Benz G500 as he finished talking with Joe. "Mr. Ambrose, please get in," Lucy said sweetly to Alex. Alex first put the box of food in the back seat, then climbed in. Lucy got in on the other side. "To Preston University, Mr. Ambrose?" Lucy's driver asked. The two of them were alone in the back. Looking at Lucy's smiling face, Alex felt a faint nervousness rising from the bottom of his heart. "Let's go to the city hospital. My friend is there," Alex said. "Okay," Lucy's driver said, smiling, and started the car. The car was filled with the fragrance of Lucy's perfume. Alex wanted to glance over at Lucy again, but when he saw Lucy's gaze, he quickly turned away. His face flushed and his heart felt flustered. He felt ashamed. "Sir, you can have a good look. I won't say anything." Lucy puffed out her chest as her soft voice floated over. "Huh?" Alex was stunned. Lucy glanced at Alex and said, "Didn't I say this before? Being seen by you is a blessing." Alex smiled with embarrassment. Since Lucy had said so, there was no need for him to sneak around anymore. He turned in the seat and gazed directly at her. It had to be said that Lucy's figure was incredibly voluptuous. Everything on her body was captivating, including her earlobes, her ample peaks, and her snow-white arms. Alex's mouth went dry, and his face turned red and hot from looking at her. They arrived at the hospital. When she saw that Alex's gaze was still fixated on her, Lucy couldn't help but shyly smile. "Mr. Ambrose, we're here," she said softly. "Oh, we're here?" stammered Alex. Only then did Alex recover his composure. "Thank you. I'll be leaving now." He grabbed the food and exited the car. When Alex touched the box of food, it still felt warm, so his friends could still eat a warm meal. He carried the box into the hospital. The door squeaked as Alex pushed it open into the hospital room. Rose Scott was staying in a single room. Her injuries weren't serious, so she only had some gauze on her injured leg. Rose's friends were circling her hospital bed. Other than Joe and a few others, the rest of them were dressed quite stylishly. Beside the bed lay the gifts that they had brought with them. There were beautifully packaged fruit baskets, several red boxes of chocolate, and a few vases filled with brightly colored flowers. The group was talking and laughing, but everyone's gaze turned towards Alex as he came in with a box of food. Alex was stunned by the crowd. He hadn't expected there to be so many people in Rose's room. Alex was originally here to deliver food for Joe, but after all, Rose was injured. Now that so many people were looking at him, he smiled and asked Rose, "Rose, are you okay?" Rose didn't respond. She just looked coldly at him, as if she wasn't happy to see him. "What's that in your hand?" Rose's roommate, Stacy Whitehouse, asked as she pointed at the box Alex was holding. "Oh, I brought some food over for my friends," Alex said plainly as he glanced down at the box. "You can't be bringing food to see Rose, right?" Stacy looked at Alex in surprise and said, "Coming to the hospital to visit patients with food?" "Even if it isn't for Rose, they would still," Alex started to explain. Just as Alex was about to explain that this meal was for his roommates, Joe walked over quickly, patted Alex on the shoulder, and said with a smile to the others, "Alex is the real deal. We haven't eaten yet. Everyone's hungry, and he was considerate enough to bring this along." Alex had come to Rose's hospital room, so if he hadn't brought anything with him, her snobbish friends likely would have ridiculed him. Although this meal was meant for his roommates, now it looks like it was for Rose. It was better to bring food than nothing, right? Alex thought. "Ha ha, this is the first time I've heard of someone bringing food to see a patient," said one person. "I've heard of it before, but all I've seen were patients' mothers bringing food. You're still a university student, aren't you?" said another person. A few of Rose's friends started to discuss among themselves. "Hey, no one saw you when you came in with this thing just now, right?" Rose asked snappily. It was embarrassing for a classmate to bring her food. "I saw it," said someone. Alex felt a bit uncomfortable. "Don't say that the food was not for her. Even if it was for her, it would still represent my generosity and shouldn't be looked down upon, right?" Alex thought to himself. "You saw it? How shameful!" Rose snorted and turned her head away. "Why don't we take a look at what exactly he's giving us?" Stacy said plainly. After saying that, she walked over to Alex and opened the box he was holding. Rose's friends started to talk to each other. "There's no need to look. What good stuff can he possibly bring? I heard this person's name at university. His family's extremely poor, and he doesn't normally go to restaurants," one said. Another responded, "I think I recognize him. He used to be a delivery boy outside of our university, and I've even ordered takeout from him. He delivers takeaway for the small food stalls outside the university." "Ah, for those small stalls outside the university, a serving of fried rice and noodles would only cost $1 or $2. Is that box full of fried rice and noodles?" "Definitely. By the looks of him, Even if it's not egg fried rice, it wouldn't be worth more than $2. Rose needs good food right now. Why bring this? When the nurses come in later, they'll see everyone in the room eating lunch from these boxes. It's only $1 or $2 worth of fried noodles. If this gets out, we'll be the laughingstock of the hospital. Rose's friends talked back and forth, ignoring Alex, who was still standing there. A few of them had eaten together at the Rookies' Lodge the evening prior, so they all knew Rose's attitude toward Alex. Alex was speechless. There was no need for him to stay any longer. He ignored the others and told his roommates to eat their food before it got too cold. He then turned around and left. Rose frowned as she looked at Joe, who was carrying the box of food. Slow down. Be careful not to eat too much. Joe felt a little uncomfortable, but he didn't say anything in front of everyone, so he put the box on the floor. At that moment, the door to the room opened and someone walked in. Rose, it's all my fault. How are you? Is the injury severe? Zane Harrison walked in. His head and hands were wrapped in gauze, so his injuries weren't too serious. It's nothing serious, just a bit of skin and a bit of a fracture. The doctor said I should be discharged after 2 days of observation. What about you? Rose said as the coldness on her face vanished and she revealed a sweet smile. Are you all right? You were in a coma yesterday. How are you feeling? It's all my fault. Sitting behind you, influenced you, Zane said with concern. Following that, Rose started to show Zane some warmth. Seeing this, Joe and the others didn't feel good. When Alex had walked in, Rose spoke coldly to him. The other people's words were so unpleasant to hear, and they didn't even try to ease the mood. In contrast, Zane caused Rose's injury, but Rose treated Zane so well. Even Rose took the blame for the injury upon herself. However, no matter what, Zane had saved Rose's family's company this time, so it was understandable that she would treat Zane this way. Joe and the others could only let out a sigh. As she spoke, another woman rushed into the room. Rose, what's wrong? How are your injuries? Oh my, look at this leg covered with gauze. What did the doctor say? The woman exclaimed. As the woman spoke, she rushed to Rose's bedside and looked at her in worry. She was dressed in a light blue striped business suit. She had short, neat hair, fair skin, and long, thin eyebrows. Auntie, Rose sighed. Rose's big eyes were shining as she stared at the woman. Her small hands were already holding onto the woman's hand. The woman who had rushed in was Rose's aunt, Sue Bradley. Although Sue was Rose's aunt, she was only 4 years older than her. They were more like sisters, so after the incident, Rose had naturally called Sue. The doctor said it's not a big problem. Auntie, don't worry. I'm blaming myself. I should have called you to tell you not to come, Rose said matter-of-factly, looking Sue in the eye. Hearing Rose's words, Sue heaved a sigh of relief. Sue noticed that Zane's head was also wrapped in gauze, so she turned to look at him and frowned. So, you're the one who threw Rose off the motorcycle, right? You said it rained last night? Why were you riding around in the rain? Do you think you're so good on that bike? You got lucky nothing serious happened this time. If something had happened, you would be fully responsible. What Sue said to Zane in front of everyone made him look bad. He coughed and looked around at the others with an awkward expression. Auntie, don't say that to Zane. He didn't do it on purpose. Our recent family matters were settled by Zane's father. Rose pulled Sue's hand toward her and whispered, Zane has helped our family so much. Hearing Rose's words, Sue was slightly stunned. She looked at Zane with a steady gaze and said to her, Rose, are you going to defend him? Of course, Sue knew about Rose's recent situation with Donald and Lucille Brennan. When she had heard that Rose had provoked the Trader Joe's group, she had been extremely anxious and had sent people to find some connections. However, these connections turned out to be useless because the Trader Joe's group was too strong. Later, Rose had called and said it had all been settled. Sue was relieved, but it aroused her curiosity. Who had her niece found to settle the matter in less than a day? Sue wondered. Was it this young man in front of her? No matter how Sue looked at it, it didn't seem right. Auntie, Rose glanced at Sue with displeasure. Zane's company's not small, and his father had a meal with Mr. Chase. Helping them out is not a big deal. It's rude of you to question Zane. Silly girl, things are not as simple as you think. What sort of status does the president of the merchant union have? Do you think you can make a move just by eating a couple of simple meals? Sue was much more mature than Rose, and she had experience with the corporate world before as well. She knew that it was not that simple. Ma'am, the solution your family tried was not working, so I asked my father to help. Zane spoke up. Sue had embarrassed him a lot. He continued, when your family was at a loss for what to do, I helped you guys out big time. Yet you still treat me with the same attitude. Don't you feel embarrassed? Sue was truly angered by Zane's word. I'm just saying, it isn't an easy task to get Mr. Chase to make a move, Sue said with a dark expression. You still don't believe me? Zane showed a slightly surprised expression and took out his phone. He glanced at Sue with a smile and said, I'll call my dad to confirm it in front of you and Rose, okay? Zane sneered and dialed his father's number. Hey, Dad, let me ask you something. Yesterday, I told you to help Rose with her family's matter. Didn't you go to look for Mr. Chase? He asked casually.
Ah, this matter. I forgot to tell you about this, my son.
Zane's father replied.
I went to look for him yesterday, but Mr. Chase's secretary said that he couldn't see me. It's just that he was too busy at work and didn't have time to talk, so I left a message in the end.
His father told Zane. Zane's father didn't know what was going on with Zane, so he told the truth. Zane's heart skipped a beat, and his face instantly felt a little hot. It turned out that it wasn't because of his dad.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.